Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and today I'm going to be continuing my 2016 wrap up with books 71 through 75. I've officially completed my Goodreads challenge for the year, so I'll definitely have to end up bumping that up. Nook, you want to say hi, bud?
Come say hi, puppy.
Say hi, bud. Ready? You want a treat? You want to go on a walk? You want to go downstairs? You want to go outside? What do you want to do? Treat? Okay. Now that I've got dog hair all over me. So the 71st thing that I read in 2016 is going to be The Inquisition by Taran Matharu. I was sent this book by Fuel and Friends? Macmillan? One of those two. In exchange for an honest review, and I'm doing this as a part of the Nook, stop playing. The BookTube Tours run by Grace from Lovington Books. I'll leave information down below where you can check out BookTube Tours if you're a booktuber and you want to sign up, or if you just kind of want to see the upcoming tours in which booktubers are going to be hosting for those tours. All the information will be linked down below. Also, there's a giveaway for this book, which I will also link down below. This is the second book in the Summoner series, the first one being The Novice. If you guys don't know, this series follows a boy named Fletcher, who at the beginning of the first book is living in a small town. He at some point finds out that he can summon demons and then is whisked away to this mage school so that he can learn how to use his magical abilities to help humankind and everything like that. If you guys watched all my wrap-ups, you'll know that I had a fair number of problems with the first one, a lot of characterization things, and literally every single one of those things that I complained about in that video were 100% fixed within the first 100 pages of this book. He literally did it so well. I didn't know how he was gonna fix all that stuff, if he was gonna fix it at all, and he literally did it perfectly. He gave Fletcher consequences for kind of straying from his moral standard, and he reinstilled in him a sense of loyalty to his adopted father, which I found to be problematic in the first book. So I was so impressed with his ability to bring the story back into where it should be, and I loved that. Another thing I really liked about the story was how compelling it is. I was supposed to be studying for my final exam, and I was reading this book instead. I read it for hours. I was supposed to be studying, and I ended up doing okay in my exam, by the way, so put down your books and study for your exams if you need to, but obviously I didn't need to because I did fine. But I just could not put this book down, and I love when a book can do that to me, where it just makes me want to keep reading and keep reading and keep reading. I also liked how he expanded the world a lot. We didn't just stick to this mage school that we were in the first book. The world is expanded. He goes different places, he sees different things, we meet different characters, and I really enjoyed those expansions and how he expanded it, and the different things that you start to learn about the magic system and about the world in general, and how all these different races are interacting. I thought it was very well done. The only thing I don't love so much is cliffhanger endings, but I already knew this book was going to have one, so I wasn't bothered by it at all. But I want the next book, Taran, so send that my way, please. And also, after I finished the book, I kind of had a book hangover. I really didn't want to read anything else besides this series, so yeah, you'll see that coming up in a second. I ended up giving this book 5 stars. So the next thing I read is actually kind of a novella. It's called Origins. It is the prequel novella to the Summoner series, because that's all I wanted to read. I just wanted to jump back into that world immediately, and so I did. And this one is about a guy named Arcturus, who in the actual series is kind of a mentor to Fletcher, and so it's really interesting to see how he got his start in the mage world and everything like that, and the things that he had to experience when he first started, because the political setup of the world was very different back then when he was going to school versus now when Fletcher is going to school. So I really liked seeing that, and I really liked all the connections that happened between the characters in Origins and the characters later on in the series. And I actually think that I preferred reading it after reading the second book. That's the point that I think you should read it, because you know where certain characters end up, and so you seeing the little seeds of those things that are going to happen later is really funny to me. I just really enjoyed seeing it and making those connections and being like, I see what's going on here. So really enjoyed that. Ended up giving this novella, sorry about my voice, I don't know what's happening, 4 stars. The next thing I read, I still didn't want to leave the world, so I went on Wattpad and I read the short story called Summoner: Rory. It's a little short story about a character named Rory who is the same age as Fletcher, and it's kind of about how he discovered that he's a mage and was going to go to this school, and it also made more connections between how things happen in later books and what happened in the past, you know, you just kind of see, oh, I see what's going on. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars just because it's so short. I mean, I just want more from that world, and so it being so short was just like, oh. But it's a very quick, fun little short story that I enjoyed reading. So I finally allowed myself to leave the Summoner world, and I ended up picking up Sandrider by Angie. This is the second book in the Todhunter Moon trilogy, which is a sequel series to the original Septimus Heap series, which is also by Angie. It's a 7-book series. I can't really talk about the plot of this one too much without spoiling how characters end up of the first series. I will say that the main character of the series, her name is Alice Todhunter Moon, and she's like your stereotypical tomboy. She would rather have adventure than, you know, sitting down and like knitting. And she's a part of this group of people that you never meet in the first series, and so it's really interesting to see their culture and how they think and their loyalties and their morals versus the characters of the first book. And the characters of the first series do come and play huge roles in this series, and I think that was one of the things that I had a problem with, was the fact that she literally just kind of continued the series, because this book barely has Todd in it. That's the main character. She's barely there. She's like there for maybe half the book, and I just think that if she's going to be the main character of the series, you should probably make it about her. But I do love the world, but I think it is really interesting. It's got wizards and witches and dragons and spells and secrets and mysteries. It's just got so many amazing aspects that I loved reading about. Ghosts, that's a huge one. Ghosts play a huge role in the series, so I really liked seeing how those things continued on. And actually the magic system is a little bit more expanded in this book, so I liked that as well. So there were things that I really liked and things that I didn't really like, so I ended up giving this 3 stars. Also, something I liked about this book was the fact that a tortoise was one of the main things happening in the story. I love tortoises. If you guys didn't know, I have a tortoise. He's enormous. His name's Hansel. He lives in my backyard. Maybe someday, maybe I'll post a picture of him on Instagram, so if you guys want to see Hansel, follow me on Instagram. Links below. And the 75th thing that I read in 2016 is going to be The Loneliest Boy in the World, The Last Child of the Great Blasket Island by, I don't know how to say the author's name because it's written in Irish and I cannot read Irish because I don't know it. So Kevin from Irish Reader, you should be able to tell me how to say that name, because I literally have no idea. So this book is exactly what the title is. It's about the loneliest boy in the world, which was a child living on the Blasket Island, the Great Blasket Island. He was the only child living on it. The closest in age to him living on the island was 30-something years older than him, and it was his uncle. So he definitely had to grow up on his own and kind of play by himself and spend a lot of time in his own mind. And so those aspects of the story were very interesting to me, because this is a true story. It's written by the guy who is the loneliest boy, but I found it so boring for most of the part. I thought it just dragged and dragged and dragged. It was written like a history book. I don't like reading history textbooks. I think they're written very uninspiringly, if that is a word. So I didn't really enjoy reading the book. It was fine. Like, it was literally just the definition of fine. That's why I ended up giving this book 2 stars out of 5 stars. I do like the fact that it had pictures though, and so you can, I mean, you really get a good grasp for his life, because his life was very boring, but I was hoping it would be a little bit more exciting. But still happy that I read it, but I don't think I would recommend it. Those are the next 5 things I read in 2016. Obviously, I'm not going to just stop reading here. I'm going to keep going and read more. Let me know down in the comments what you've been reading recently. Have you read any books about Irish history that are interesting? Any historical fiction books about Irish history would be more than welcome if you have any. If you're gonna read the Inquisition / Start the Novice, let me know as well, because I am now totally into that series. I just want to read everything about that series. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.